The last three skills that I want to talk about under the feeling and knowledge-based heading are actually somewhat more communication-based. They include a lot of feeling and knowledge, but they also require, in lots of cases, a bit of two-way communication, though not always. Now, the reason they're included as part of this topic is because, as I said earlier, intuition can mimic just about all of them, and intuition can mimic all three of these in some form. Not all, but in some form. So I will discuss each one of the three in complete and separate terms because, other than the fact that they kind of involve communication, they are distinct and separate. So I'll begin with the first one, which is communing. Now, some of us have heard terms like we're going communing with nature, which simply means going out walking or being revitalized, enjoying the sunshine, and that really is what communing is about. It's about communication, but it's also about absorbing energy, about recharging our energetic batteries, if you will, or revitalizing our life. So, to be able to commune is actually a fairly simple process. It requires that we simply connect to something else and share of ourselves and share of it. So, as a perfect example, if we're going to commune with nature, we might commune specifically with a tree. We might sit down in the shade, just enjoy the sunshine, recharge our batteries, connect with nature around us. We're communing. Now, the ability to commune, some people in other spiritual pursuits take it a little more seriously and a little more literally, that you can actually communicate. Now, some of that ability is potentially there, but that's not what we're discussing. The part that includes communing that I'm talking about is about simply trusting in information as well as learning how to strengthen our energetic muscles. Communing is a wonderful way to do that because we're sort of trusting something outside ourselves has the ability to help us grow and evolve. And that's really what this aspect of communing I want to include. So it's important to keep that separate from the distinct literal translation and the more general psychic art that we're discussing. So to commune, as I said, is very simple. Just connecting with anything that's outside yourself and sharing yourself and sharing it. It's that simple. That's all it is. And that's what you do to get better at communing, is just to do that. So you could commune with another person just as well as a tree. It's all interconnected. But it's important to keep that separate from a lot of the other talents. Again, you're sharing a piece of yourself, gaining something back, but in the end, with communing, you feel revitalized and energized as a result. That's the key distinct difference. Now, the next talent is something that obviously have created a lot of books and a lot of other things. That, of course, is the ability of channeling. Now, what channeling is basically getting information from outside of ourselves. Now, just like intuition and precognition or clairsentience, it's all basically about the same kind of thing with some distinct difference. With channeling, you're getting information from a specific source, not from a general one. With intuition, you're kind of getting information from wherever. With channeling, there's a specific end that's providing that information. Now, some people have claimed that that's things like extraterrestrials, the past, spirits. I don't really know much about that, but I do know channeling is about gathering information. And in my case, I look at channeling as the topic. If the topic is very much the same, then we can call it from the same source. And that's how I prefer to look at channeling. So if we're channeling information about healing, it's from the same topic, so it's all probably from the same source. If we're channeling information on computers, same kind of thing. So with channeling, all we're doing is gathering information and using it. So to do that, that's all we basically do, gather information and use it. So again, it can be easily confused with intuition and clairsentience and all the others, so don't get caught up on the title. I'm including it just so that you know that it's a possibility. Whether it's real or whether it isn't, we don't really know enough yet to say one way or the other, so I've included it just to be complete. Now, the last one is something that is more readily known and more commonly out there. That, of course, is the ability of mediumship. the ability of what people classify as talking to the dead. So as you can see, the three are connected. Communing is about connecting with something else. Channeling is about getting information from a specific source, but medium is about talking to a specific person or spirit. That's the distinction. Now, you can certainly tap that same information without going through this channel, but again, to be complete, I want to include it. So a medium basically is communicating with someone who's passed, through a spirit who may have never lived a physical human life, or through an entity of some sort. Don't get caught up on the words. Just again, remember that we really don't know what's possible, so let's keep an open mind and be accepting of all the possibilities. So to practice being a medium, basically need to actually learn how to communicate with things that are not there. So lots of people will do things like the Ouija board. They'll do a ceremony of burning candles and trying to talk to the dead. They'll go to the cemeteries and try and communicate with the people in the various graves. These are all excellent techniques under one simple condition, that what you're doing isn't used to hurt anyone. Now, some mediums, as you've seen on TV, will play what's called cold reading. They'll put out a name into a crowd because they know that certain names are more common. For example, the last name Smith, we all know is very common. So if I say something like, I'm feeling the name Mr. Smith, in a crowd of people, chances are either someone's going to know someone or be a Mr. Smith. So that's really what cold reading is about, and that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the trust-based ability, the thing that is real amongst the things that aren't. So, as I said, like everything else, it can mimic through other sources. So, medium is simply a word that we use to mean something specific, even though the information can come through other ways. So, that's important to remember. So, I myself am not really in that category. I can gather information through those sources, and that's all I'm really trying to impart with you. How you do it, how it works, isn't as important as what the end result is, the information. So whether it's coming through a spirit, whether it's coming through intuition, whether it's coming through clairsentience, it doesn't matter. What matters is that it comes. That's all that really matters. The specific titles you can get into later after you have more experience. And if you find that you are communicating with a spirit guide or someone that's passed or your grandmother, then by all means use the title medium, because then you have some experience and that is where your information's coming from. But just don't get caught up on it on the beginning. So, as I said before, for completion, I've tried to include them all because I want to be as specific as I can and provide enough information to kind of touch at least the basics. Later on, I very well might produce more videos or even include some of the other people who I know who are more gifted at each of the individual talents. I have my talents, and of course I can give you more information on those. And other talents I don't possess, obviously, just like everybody else, I need to go to someone else who knows more. So if there's a topic like this that you'd like to know more on, let me know, and I will try and connect you with some of the people who I know who know more about it. That isn't to say I don't know enough, I do. But if you want to develop it, some talents I can help you with, others I can help you in the right direction. That's about as far as I can go. Just being honest. So again, the whole point of all of the feeling and knowledge-based powers is about trust. Everything can be mimicked by intuition. Lots of things can get confused. So as I said, don't get caught up on the title. Just allow it to occur and wait and see what happens. As you gain more experience, then you can start separating the abilities into their different forms. But don't do that in the beginning. It's a waste of time and it'll cost you, because if you focus too much on this ability when in fact you have this ability, you're gonna not be able to use that effort. It's gonna have been wasted. So that's it for this type of ability. In the next section, we'll now go on to a new ability, a new series of abilities. So please stay with us and it'll be there shortly.